Another feel safe, another feel safe, another feel safe. I just stay afraid, I just stay afraid, I just stay afraid. Another feel safe, another feel safe, another feel safe. I just stay afraid, I just stay afraid, I just stay afraid. Sometimes I go allow, I just want allow. The body na me young, but you get some man with just want for sell 'em. Get me for rituals, cut me parts and go sell 'em. I'm also human, I got my dreams, so do you please remember? I just stay afraid, I just stay afraid, I don't feel safe, oh, hey. I go the hello. If I see stranger come na me, the mountain come in a one corner, oh. Hey, I go the hello. Me body na me own, you know get the right for go sell 'em, oh. Hey, I go the hello. If you see stranger call you inside motor car run and they allow. Now the time comes so when they take small picking go sell 'em. Take them and them cut them part for the money and the power. Now the time comes so they go do all kind of things we go bring them back. Then take mortal man go kill them and sell them for do them rituals. But you where they see make you know that you mought. If you sitting they go wrong now, you come on a big phone and call. Run to the police, call you mama, the soldier, the chief. We all for make sure say we help for save a life. Oh, make we they allow. When nurses stranger they call one small picking now the corner. Oh, I go they allow. Me body na me right, not to for you for grab and go sell out. Hey, make we they allow. The picky one for leave, no sell 'em for you money and power. Hey, make we they allow. Make we raise we voice for protect the small picky when not get voice. Hey, I go they allow. Protect the picking the woman or person waiting na use. Oh, make we they allow. They need we help, they need we voice. Oh, call the police, call the soldier or the chief. Call you mama, call you papa, brother or sister. Say mama, mama, papa, papa. Cry for help, call, raise your voice. Say mama, papa.
Master Grace on the beat.
Hello, good morning, and welcome again to yet another episode on the Brunch Show. And for the month of March, we have dedicated it to women, and we have wonderful, amazing women in the studios today. They will introduce themselves shortly, but as we've said, we have dedicated this month to women, and we want to discuss everything and anything affecting women and how we can provide solutions to all those things that we were going through or still going through. And I think you spoke about what yesterday?
Yesterday we talked about
Women and conflict.
exactly women in conflict,
And the whole of from
the
Monday.
roles of women in
Yeah.
society,
Yeah.
and women balancing career, business, and the family.
And today we just want to focus on women in the workplace. And you know, I don't want us to jump into the conversation now. I want us to read the quotes and the verse as
Exactly.
we always do, because that always gives us the hint,
hint of what
of the topic and the conversation. And over to you, Laura.
Okay, so the verse of the day is coming from the book of Proverbs 31, verse 17, which says, "She sets about her work vigorously, her arms are strong for her task."
That's beautiful. And the quote is, there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. Michelle Obama. So we want to introduce our guest and we want to start on our very left. Yes, can you please tell us your name and what you do? Just a brief introduction.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Catherine Skillman. I'm the Deputy Management Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, over to you.
Good morning. I am Miriam Conte Morgan, and I am the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Institute of Public Administration and Management, which
Okay.
is College of the University of Sierra Leone.
Yes. So family when I say hello. And as we go for the mix and small because Radio Fry Fry, we are in 10 different districts. So there are people in the provinces
Yeah.
that might not be hearing only English. So we want to be mixing it with a bit of with Salon Creole. And but we want to start the conversation by starting off with what was happening like way 90 something and how first the women were just taught to be at home housewives and later they started going to little bit of professional career like secretary or
Cashiers.
cashiers, little bit of administration, and later they started going to politics more vigorously into politics and taking leadership roles like administration or management or CEOs, directors. But we want to start with some of the struggles women were facing from like the very beginning. Why were they just limited to those low end jobs or less of leadership until it came to a point where they thought they can do better. So we have two different film salon based. So we're gonna do both. Like how what were you? Is it the same there or is it more different? Or well, let's try to compare and see how far we Sierra Leone have gotten and into progressing into moving from cadre of leadership as women. So I think we'll start with you.
Sure. So in the U.S., definitely that progression has happened and is still happening. And I think that just as you said that there's always especially for women, the have to compromise and adjust the role of work and family, and that's something that for many, not just mothers but parents now are really adjusting with that. In the U.S., there is now more legal protection for parents, but it's still evolving, and it is still a case where I think now there's laws protecting parental leave and things like that. But as you were saying, back in the day, our mothers and grandmothers, that they might start a career and, 150 years ago, an employer would say, oh, well, you're good at your job, but you're probably going to leave and, have a family and quit your job. Or there might even be the perception of, well, if you don't leave, then why you're not fulfilling the normal society expectation. So, do we really want you here? So it was a very difficult way to compromise. And I've only been in Sierra Leone for about 4 months, but I really enjoy working here and getting to know all of my local colleagues. And I know that that is something that just as in the U.S., women in Sierra Leone have to rely on family and different ways to make sure that their children are taken care of while they're going to work, and that but things have progressed a lot, and that women in Sierra Leone are very proud of how they've progressed and gotten more recognition in the workplace, and that is something that's inspiring for their sons and daughters to see. Okay, you're not only your father, but your mother is also achieving things that are higher and higher.
Yeah, well, it's interesting listening to you because I also have an experience of working in the States, and but I started my professional career here in Sierra Leone, and what is generally thought of as a a woman's job as a teacher.
Mm.
And honestly, I selected that because of family reasons. um, growing up, went to university, went to Furube College, and my dream was to join the Foreign Service.
Okay.
Then life happened. I met my husband then, husband to be, got married. And by the time I graduated, I had a 5-month-old baby. So it was like, okay, let me go into teaching. That will give me a bit more time with my kid.
Yeah.
Because by 2 o'clock I was home, that kind of thing. And so the teaching profession has always been seen as
Women.
favoring women because so it was quite a shock coming back to see that the secondary schools have more male teachers. And I remember, and I went to an all-girls school. I was teaching in an all-girls school, although I taught at an all-boys at Albert Academy. But again, the staff room had a lot of women. So there has been a shift because this is just not a scientific poll or anything, because I asked, so where are the women going? It turns out, well, from what I hear, a lot of the NGOs and the banks had women had gone into those fields, and of course, they're better paying jobs.
Yeah.
So what we can see there is a progression that women are, trying to achieve more things for themselves and get financial independence, which is really what's at the heart of probably, say, my mother's generation and our generation, and of course, your generation. But it's interesting because, well, in the US, yes, I am a woman, but I'm also a Black woman. So there were two things to go with. But then there's affirmative action. You look at job ads, women are encouraged to apply. So that, in a sense, gives you some level of confidence, maybe. And here, like I said, I started off in a profession that seemed to be woman friendly at the time. So there wasn't, I wouldn't say I had difficulties personally. And, there was generous maternity leave. Well, 12 weeks, 12 weeks paid leave. So, and this, we're talking the 80s. So now I don't know if there's paternity leave here as well, and things like that. So clearly there's been a lot of changes, some good, some not so, maybe, but we'll talk about that as we go.
As we go along.
So, anyways, I think for our generation, we have people like you to look up to because we know it was not easy growing up. There are some certain places women were not permitted to work at, handling big companies or maybe institutions or so, being a CEO or a manager or, they had, women were marginalized, not, they did not see the potential of women back then because women were just limited to taking care of the family. You should be home with the kids. You should be taking care, cooking, cleaning. That was so. But now, our generation, we have people that, that can mentor us, that we look up to, and, for our future generations to come, at least you guys have set the pace for us. So before we move into the next segment, I just want to give you guys your flowers. Yes, because you've set the pace for us, and you've paved the way for us, and now it's, I might not say maybe completely smooth,
Yeah, but it's a bit,
but it's better than how it was before.
And I just wanted to cue in as much as you said women were marginalized, but I don't think they were. I think society gave them a mindset that they could not even do certain things because it's not about even trying. We are not trying. They just thought, okay, I gotta take care of me picking. I need more time. So since if I go be doctor, I go for the go work night shift.
Yeah.
So who's time I will go with me picking, or who's time I will go with my family. So let me just find a comfortable space to be at. But now it has changed, and now women think, well, 90 day, demand day. So we can just juggle things
Balance
up,
the whole
and
thing.
I don't need to be stagnated just because the family is we have it's both of us, it's our duty as parents. So if you're accomplishing something as a man, as a woman I can too. So now I see women going for masters a lot, going for PhD a lot. There was a time, maybe even to have a degree, people like, what am I going to do with a degree?
Because at the end of the day, I'm limited to being at home.
Yeah. So even though as I said, I don't see that they were marginalized. I think society just created a mindset that we are limited. But now we have progressed, as you've said. We see now we have mentors. We see women that have accomplished so much. So we say, okay, even though I have this mindset, I can change it. I can do something because I've seen other women doing it.
Yeah.
So we want to know if there was any time when, like, from teaching, as you said, you had a plan, you had a goal, but family came to a point where you had to make adjustments for your family, which is important. And but was there any time when you thought, like, okay, family is there, but I can still juggle it up? Because being the position you have right now, I know you had to do more, learn more, and maybe before getting here, you had other things other position you had before you came here. So I wanted to know how the stages were, and when was it comfortable to even though think about family, but you had to think about yourself as well.
I mean, that's listening to you, I'm just kind of nodding because some of these, actually, I personally do not see, just compartmentalizing being a mother, a wife, and a professional.
Yeah.
And in the sense that one has to find their own fit, what works for you. And as you say, our generation, we have partners, husbands that are more willing to take on, you know, chores around the house.
Yeah.
My husband was pretty good at dishwashing. But society puts these barriers, and we internalize it.
Yeah.
But even when you want to break out, I remember when I had just come back, I'd done a master's, my first master's, and I met. He was an older man. He had also, gone in. Was in academia as well. And I mentioned I read linguistics, and he looked like, a woman like you, I mean, doing something as difficult as linguistics. And I'm like, excuse me. Yeah. Well, for one, linguistics is not difficult in the first place. But then that was just the, perception that women are doing hard things.
Yeah.
And again, a certain gentleman of that generation, my daughter was going to medical school, and almost trying to discourage her. Like, you'll be working nights. Yes. And so you have to juggle how it is. You're taking, it's not at one, giving preference or higher preference to one and the other. So that's why I say really it's, you have to find an accommodation, a way of accommodating things. I was in grad school and I'm sitting there taking classes part-time and thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do grocery shopping when I leave here. Yeah, I'm checking off my list. I have to check the kids' homework, all the kinds of things, because we see it as this is what a woman should do.
Right.
But there are also times when I've passed up on opportunities, professional opportunities. And you think of, and these were pre-cell phone days. So imagine you're living in Sierra Leone, you have an opportunity to go spend 6 weeks away from your family in Singapore. And it's like, no, I can't do this. So, but yet, my husband also had 6 week summer teaching in other places that he
Yeah.
would also go to. But then,
You?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't like you cannot go, but I self-police myself in a way, And I think that's the struggle that many professional women go through. Yeah. At least Sierra Leonean women, yeah, because we have been socialized to be seen as the center of the home. The husband is a provider, but you make a home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And
And
I think I'll also throw the same question at you. So was there a time you had to juggle work and family? Yeah.
Yes, I don't have kids, but I definitely, like everybody, has had to juggle work life integration. Uh, a lot of people are calling it that now instead of work life balance. They realize there's never a balance. It's you have to integrate and go back and forth. Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely something that has progressed, but I think what's interesting is that it's progressed for everyone. So I've been with the U.S. State Department for 14 years. I started out as a diplomatic courier traveling full time, and my first post was in Dakar, Senegal. And one of my local employees, who became a dear friend, when I started, he said, "This is not a good job for a lady." And but they hadn't had a female colleague before, and then in the time since, they've had 2 female supervisors and many female colleagues. So they've started to see that it anyone can do the job. But an important thing is, as for everybody to realize, it's not just that women can do something that's impossible like men would do. In the past, men might spend a lot of time away from their families to get ahead. Everyone should realize that there has to be integration.
Yeah.
Right.
And with my job as a diplomatic courier, there was times where we would take a DHL cargo plane overnight from Dakar, stopping in Freetown and Monrovia and going to Abidjan, and there was no bathroom on the plane. And the men could, go off, but that's so they would say, "Oh, a woman can't do that." But a man shouldn't do that either, So something where everyone is reassessing, okay, what's okay in the workplace for anybody.
And when you just mentioned about traveling, there are certain jobs that require a lot of traveling, and people will say this: if there's a vacancy out there, they will not employ a woman because they will say you might, even if you are young, they will say or you don't have a family yet.
Yeah.
They might think you might want to start a family, and traveling here and there, who is going to be there for the family, or who's going to be there for the kids, or maybe at a point you get pregnant and you will not be able to travel. There are all those complications. So those jobs, I don't know, like you go pray, or even though you fast and pray, they will think it's not fit for a woman. But there are some women that will want to sacrifice, maybe even not being too there's the normal family setting, or maybe just being there for the kids. They can still find somebody that's there for the kids. But there are some people who are so interested in just maybe being a pilot, traveling everywhere. There are schedules where you have to travel like every month or so. There's no time to actually stay at home or in one country, and they will think that you might want to start something or a family, and a man can do that. Like a man can, you can visit your family maybe once a year, and they will see it as fine. But when it comes to women, they might not think it's appropriate for a woman to have those type of jobs. For me, I don't see like it's wrong. Maybe, but it should be the person's choice.
Exactly.
Like, do you want to do it? But now they are limiting it to you should not do those type of jobs. I don't know if you have any friends or personal experiences when it comes to that, like certain roles that you want to take, and they say that it's not fit for you.
Sorry, before we go, so we don't go into the conversation. We get for open
The phone line.
We dey open the phone lines now. You can call on 088 971 971. Ask you questions. Them if you know, say yourself na woman, you dey battle with, or you dey try for juggle work and picking and your family, and you as a lady, sef, because if you take care of yourself, no problem as a lady. Then now you get work and you get family or something, you get into business. And then maybe you want add up something, you know, somebody where they go through the same thing. You want add up to wait till they talk. And we not just want talk alone.
Yeah.
Nayana the studio. So please never call on the number
088
088 We guess then dinner you can ask questions. Make very good use of this opportunity. Sometimes you don't know when next you go hear them. So please now for ask them questions. How they, you know, be able for battle life, waiting life be through at them, how they be able for overcome and how they be able for push through. Sometimes you're a young person, you want to go into business, you don't know what for do, or you want to get your family, you don't know how to go about it. These are people then we don't go through that same thing and you want to know more. So please, 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 we emphasize. Please call direct or you call online on 088 If you're out of Sierra Leone, please now put the code +232 88 971.
Or you can just give a comment.
Yeah, on Facebook. Sometimes they shame for call.
Yeah.
Maybe you're shy or so, but you can always leave a comment on our Facebook page. Right now, we did live. And share.
Like and share. So I think the question I asked was if there's personal experiences where you had to choose between or where you were rejected for certain roles.
Yeah.
Or not maybe you are persistent and you still got it, but you are rejected for certain roles because they thought that it was not fit for you as a woman.
Not that I know of, but I'm sure that
Hello?
perceptions have changed very much in my career.
Hello, good
in,
morning.
seeking different jobs. One thing that just came to mind though was someone in the State Department who was talking about the importance of people in management setting the tone. And that's something in our workplace at the embassy that our leadership does, that they make sure people know I'm leaving on time. I'm going home to my family.
Okay.
And that's very important to not model that for other people of saying, oh, well, you go home, but I'll stay for a few hours. To say, no, this is important. Let's work hard while we're at work, and then let's go home on time and have everything in our lives. So I think that as people start to model that for their employees, then that makes people think, oh, okay, I can, if I'm at that next level, I can have more integration in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have been told to my face at least, or I could even discern that I was not given a job because, I was a woman. Well, I'm currently head of a campus, and I am the first woman to head that campus. And but as I said earlier, teaching was female dominated, but in higher education, it's not. There are fewer women at that level.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, and what I think is probably, well, you're in HR, you would know this, I think, but it's more like women bloom later. Because we only get to take those chances and kind of go for higher paying jobs or jobs with more responsibilities when we think that our kids don't need us as much. So it's very refreshing in Sierra Leone to see that there are young women in their 30s, holding great national positions of importance and doing what used to be a young man's job.
Yeah.
But you had mentioned earlier about us being role models.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had not seen myself as one.
Really?
No, until I became deputy vice chancellor.
Okay.
So the year this was 2022, and the student union government was, student union unionism, and there were three female candidates
Wow.
for the position of
That's hard to see.
student union president. But it did not, because I guess I was not paying much attention, and student unionism had been banned for a number of years. So this was like the third iteration that we were at IPAM. And so one of them eventually won. So she became the first.
Okay.
And that's what she meant. She said, I was like, what has changed? What's in the water these days? I was like, well, we have a female DVC, so we
Why
think
not?
that we, yeah.
Yeah.
So it struck me then that this is not just an administrative job. It is, you know, trailblazing. You know, I don't want to push myself out there like I'm being, but I was really touched by that these young women looked at me and said, well, if she can lead a campus, I can do this.
Yes.
And that was 2 years ago. And now our current government has a vice president who is a female. But here's the kicker. Just a month ago or so, she became the first female president of a national union of students. So, and these are women, young women who have seen me as a role model. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And every time I speak about it, it gives me goosebumps because I grew up with no sister. So I was a tomboy, you know. So here was I grew up with 5 brothers. So here I am now. You know, there's no tree I couldn't climb.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That should be something we
So
should
like
say in the
thinking,
future.
you know,
Yeah.
I appreciate this question that you raised. I mean, asking them if they were once rejected for a role. I remember when I was in school. So they wanted to vote for a class president. It's not something, you know, in the government also, just class president. So yeah, I raised my hand and, I wanted the position of being a class president. And a guy too raised his hand, a boy, and then they voted and I won. I won, and when the teacher came and then they were like, oh, have you guys voted? We said, yes, we voted. And okay, who have you guys selected? And they were like, oh, me. And then he was like, oh, no, how about we change it?
You be the vice.
Yes. So it was like, how about we change it? Let us, switch positions. Maybe for the boy to take the class president, and I should take the vice president. I was like, okay, why? And he was like, oh, because he's a guy. Men are known for commanding respect and all of that. So you just be behind him, and whenever he's not around. So that was how I did not become the class president, and I was the vice president. But then the thing is, I was the one putting the effort.
Doing all the work.
Exactly. I was the one doing all the work. I would be the one going to call the teacher, and we use like a blackboard then. So I had to clean the board. Whenever a teacher leaves the class, I'll go take chalk from the how do you call it, staff room. Yes. So I was the one doing all the job. And then he was just there as the class
got the
president.
glory.
Exactly.
For the title.
So, I mean, like we said earlier, it's just the mindset.
Yeah.
This is something that has been instilled in us that, a man is supposed to. We're not discriminating the men. You guys are doing well. But then it starts from the mindset because society now has made it known that, men are supposed to take all the higher position.
Yeah.
Even, yes, and then sometimes when we want to counter that, they'll be like, the Bible said it, that you guys are helpmates. So, I mean, like, it just popped in my head when something like that happened. I went home, I told my mom, and my mom was like, no, but now you win. Now you win. Wait till make the phone take and now you and this. I'm like, you know what? I don't want any problems. I'll just do my duty as the vice president. At least I'm not just vice, I'm a vice president. So at least I have the title. Exactly.
But you see, the point you raise also then makes, this assertive versus aggressive. Who's assertive, who's aggressive?
Yes.
Yeah.
A woman, try to show that, your rights and all that. You're too pushy, all these terms come to play. And it's it's not easy, but because like I said, higher education is, it's on all men, heads of department, deans, vice chancellors. We're yet to have a female vice chancellor, but we have a female chancellor, the first one, a appointed last year. So there are changes, but I remember some years ago, we were at a workshop and I had to make a presentation. And, I had scanned the room. These are all colleagues from all the various universities around the country. And when it was my turn to speak, I go, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." And that's when they all realized that there was no other woman in the room. And they were like, yes. So it was a room full of maybe 25 people, and I was the only female in that room. Yeah. So I often joke, like I said, don't have a conscience. So, God knew what he was doing when he set me the only girl among 5 boys. He was preparing me. But growing up, I was one of the boys. I mean, I was in shorts. Like I said, I climbed trees. It was like doing what the boys can do. And now, of course, older and wiser, I can still do that, but I don't have to show that I'm trying to be a man. I had my personal philosophy that I didn't have a name for until I found a quote by Mahatma Gandhi that's sitting on my desk. In a gentle way, you can change the world.
Yes.
And to me, that's, I'm not pushy, aggressive, but I get things done.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, true.
So we can approach leadership and women in leadership, from different angles. For some, it's, being there, acting aggressive, quote unquote. And, but, I like to think that my quiet voice carries weight.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So I don't think we should undersell ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really very common oh, no, I don't think I can do it. We've all been through that stage, but we didn't have the role models that you have now. I mean, you look anywhere. In all sectors, women are leading, women are in positions of power. And so I think we're getting there. We're heading for number 1 spot.
Yes.
I didn't say that. No, but what I'm saying is people, I mean, young women or women need to aspire. And nothing should be impossible.
Yeah, sure. And when you were just saying heading for number 1 spot, when you see young people, maybe men, you hear men say, "I want to be the president of Sierra Leone in the future," but it's hard for you to see women as certain to be the president of Sierra Leone in the future. And if we have more people, they say we aim for the sky, at least if we don't say, come for the ground. So if we have more people aspiring to be something as high as that, then they can work towards it. And even if they don't get there, they can be leaders in certain roles or maybe in certain governmental position, and they can make a change. Because the more we have women there, the more we can talk or make decisions that affect other women that are not in those positions, and still have more role models for the coming generation. I don't know if you wanted to add something.
Well, what's really inspiring to me is a few weeks ago, we did interviews for a young women entrepreneur scholarship program. So it was female university students from Sierra Leone who want to study entrepreneurship and public service and how they can do that. And so many of them are already entrepreneurs. And they are, I don't think they're afraid of the systems of government and higher education and things like that, but they're really forging their own paths too, with their own business, using social media in a way that it just didn't exist when I started my career. But for them, it's okay, I can forge a new path.
Yes.
So that's really inspiring to see that they're not even necessarily saying, okay, how can I climb in the existing system, but how can I create my own business and my own way of life that's going to be built on the work-life integration because it's not trying to change anybody else's rules.
And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm really pleased you
Hello?
brought that up because at IPAM we have a center for
Hello?
entrepreneurship and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
And so we've been doing pitch nights, hackathons, and in fact, right now we're going. 10 students are going through incubation, business incubation training. We're doing skills development, and it's interesting to see the range of businesses that are in the making or in the early stages, and women. So the first iteration, this is really a lot of the women came in with kind of cosmetic kinds of products. And then, you see, but it's evolving, and you're seeing things that they're teaming up with their peers, with men, boys, well, young men. And but it's an interesting dynamic to see how they work together, how they who's the lead, you know. And it's something we're really excited about. In fact, now we are recruiting for a digital marketing and digital communication training. So and we are very intentional about setting up that center because I believe that we're a business school. We offer degrees in entrepreneurship, but the hands-on part of it is what we are trying to get students to acquire. Right? So, and just the other day we had the director of the Chinese Institute of the university, housed at Furubay College. But you're thinking so many people go to China to do business.
Yeah.
Having knowledge of functional knowledge of the language will help. So, and I'm just, it's mind blowing to see the confidence these young ladies come with. They know their product, they're trying to do things. And yeah, so in a way, that financial independence we were talking about earlier, trying to move away from, because some of them, let's face it, there's also a lot of harassment going on. Students come back or graduates come back, they haven't had jobs. People want favors from them in exchange for jobs. So it's like, push all of that aside. I
Right.
can do it.
Create
Right.
mine.
And but that center also we've brought market women. We had 40 of them. So I dropped in in the session. It was a half day because we didn't want to take them away from their businesses and so on. But it was very interesting to, it's my money, kind of. And I'm thinking here, these women seem to assert themselves a lot more than probably those in the,
Yeah.
the other side, the academic
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we are thinking next is to bring
Them
the
together.
two together to see, everybody learn from each other. Because, you tend to think, okay, they're out there, they're doing their hustle. But then
They're more
there-
confident.
absolutely, there's a lot more we can learn from them in the academic world. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that center and what it's doing.
That's beautiful.
So we still a
English
still
no
a tell
more
you
they
now.
talk.
Say una need for please call. Oh, wait oh. No, because now the English I make una no one call. Please una call on number
971
088 Don't worry, we'll get for don't worry. May dinner get for break hunting down for
Done.
una. No worry.
So we just get a few more minutes. As to say, we encourage you now for call on 088 971 971. Any conversation don't take a whole beautiful turn, and we don't talk about some of the challenges, but then we're talking about success stories,
Yes.
like women creating their own jobs. And as we've said, the main important thing is financial independence, because if woman
Tomorrow get for
that's tomorrow's topic.
Please.
Financially, yeah, it is.
you
Will
guys
you give a
tune
hint?
in tomorrow.
that's tomorrow's topic, because the main reason why a lot of women go through a lot of challenges, maybe harassment or domestic violence, is because they don't have an option but to stay. And they have to think about their lives after leaving, or we can just stay and be patient, it will get better. So if then they have something to do, something to a way forward or something to look up to, as and I can start my life after here, then there are a lot of things women will not be undergoing or suffering. And even though we're going to talk about that tomorrow, but when we talk about women in the workplace, that's also why women strive so hard to earn, even if it's a little money. But then we want come on now, just that half job the one they do from secretary. But you can, we want to motivate you that you can do something better, you can do
Yes.
more. And if there are men who are in certain roles, but they are doing nothing. They're just handling titles,
They're
but
faking it.
they're faking it. But
Like that boy.
then when we see them, that boy, please forgive him. Forgive him. I don't know where he is, but you need to let go.
The class president boy.
I don't know what job he might be doing, but I feel like you're doing way better.
Well, I wish you all the best.
You're still wishing him.
90%.
Yeah. So I think women should do more. And as I said, there are men, just because they are men, we feel like they are doing a lot. And they are men with titles. So it's like, what, just you pass being assertive or go to meetings being dominant. But you can just sit at your office or even cake by 1:00 and you say they go for a meeting, but you're not going to any meeting. But we have women, if you put them in those roles, they've always find ways to make it better.
Yeah.
They always find ways to leave a print behind. Say, at least Wakaya, after I left here, anybody who can see that, they should see what I've done.
Yeah.
And when it comes to women, I feel like we have to do, we are always expected to do more, because there are people looking up to us, waiting for us to fail. Like, and seeing a woman, since you're a woman, you wanted this position, okay, just go there. We are waiting to see what you can do. But for men, it's a normal, just do whatever.
Yeah.
You don't, they're not even going to hold you accountable for certain things.
But there's the other thing that bothers me a little bit about being a woman in leadership positions in the workplace. You automatically become the mommy. There's that mothering. People expect you to to be soft on certain, squishy on certain issues, because they're appealing to the maternal instinct or whatever it is, or woman, and of course, yeah, like I said, the mommy, the mommy na power. It's like, excuse me, you don't go about saying the man na power,
Yeah.
So why? Yeah. So around IPAM, everybody knows there's no dimami because you get that look.
Where is this coming from?
But a few years back, I was asked to review an article for publication in an academic journal, and it had to do with women in leadership. And this was a study done in Nigeria and in higher education. And it was I was like, check. Everything was just the same. They expect you to not all, to leave work at some point to say, oh, my kids are this, or you'll understand because you're a mother yourself. That is when female employees come with issues that need to be resolved. So it's not easy.
Right.
But what we have now in terms of a critical mass, if we're building a critical mass, and I think some of these perceptions would kind of fade, because then you have more women and then more of them succeeding, and more of them, just showing that, hey, we can do it.
Yeah.
What is it? Accelerate action.
So I think also one of the struggles is like women have to put in the work just to prove themselves.
Always proving a
Right?
point. Yeah.
Whether in the office, whether they're selling in the market, whether they're into business, they just have to prove it to everyone. Now, if you talk something me question, I just wanted to throw a quick question. Was there a time where you had to work 10 times harder to prove yourself that yes, you can do this?
Yes, I'm sure. I think the example about being a female diplomatic courier
Yes.
in Dakar and really having to do extra work to make sure that I was fitting in and respecting the local culture and my male coworkers who I spent a lot of time with and learning what they were comfortable with in terms of they would go to pray and I would kind of give them some distance and or different things of one of them learning he had two wives and at first he didn't want to talk about that with an American and then he would talk about it as if okay you realize this is my family situation here that doesn't happen in the US but absolutely does in Senegal so we can talk like human beings together so yeah I think there I definitely had to just realize that it would take some time and approach it on a human level and not in a mommy way, but realize little things I could do in terms of every morning he would come pick me up and I would hand him a can of Coke. And that became our ritual of, at first I would try to make him a coffee, but I couldn't make it the way they do there. So I would make my own coffee and hand him a Coke. And, then just saying that, okay, I respect your time. You're getting up early. Here's a little caffeine for our 5 a.m. drive. Yeah. So I think and approaching it in my own way and not trying to think how has anyone done this before? I have to approach it from my perspective and just listen and form, human relationships and realize that it takes some time.
Yeah.
What about have there been any circumstance or been in a position where you had to demand respect? Like sometimes people feel like when a woman is there and a man will want to do anything or talk anyhow and you have to put them in a place, address me as in the position I am in, not the gender. So has there been any time when you had to really think about, no, if a man was here, you cannot do that. You will not do that. But so I want to know because
Yeah, I would say in that job, a lot of people with the airlines and things like that were used to seeing a man in that role. So I would have to gently and firmly say, no, I'm in that role. So I'm doing the same job as the man that you're used to seeing. And I had a male colleague who I was saying, oh, and I learned how to say this and this in French. And he said, 2 years here, I haven't spoken any French in Senegal. I just have a clipboard, a badge, an attitude. It all happens. So that was interesting to try and, I was trying to go at it from another way of how can I verbalize and explain it? And he was like, nope, they just know I'm in that role and that's happening.
so it's way easier. I don't.
Yeah, I have. Like I said, in higher ed, being so. My famous example was, there was a showdown between myself and one of the very senior, and it was like, I may be soft spoken, I may not be pushing myself, but you don't mess with me. And so we had a go at each other. He stalked off. And but I must say, I give him that, to this day. I mean, we are the best of friends. In meetings, I may be sitting at the one end of the room and he at the other, but we always find time to come to, because he would seek me out and, have a little joke or something. But I clearly think that it was because, as a woman, well, your opinion is not quite, it was like, not this one. And so you get that and you feel that, your opinion doesn't count for much.
Right.
You're only this. Or also my rank is associate professor. There are male associate professors who some people would address as professor, but when it comes to me, it's Mrs. Yeah. So, I just kind of smile sometimes. You have to also not be thin-skinned.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you have to learn not to see everything as them trying to them as in the other
Yeah.
the other sex trying to get you down.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are subtle ways. But also, I must say, some people are not aware that they are putting you down, or it's just probably their style.
Yeah.
But hey, they need to be called out. And yeah, the mommy.
Oh.
So when you were just saying about people not being aware that they are putting you down, but you said also another thing, that you should be thick-skinned, not taking everything as people trying to put you down. Because us also will think, since I'm in this position, you can be so sensitive. Like
Yeah.
I am part of the little percentage of society holding this or being at this point, and anything people do, you are too sensitive that they are trying to do something negative to you.
Yeah.
While sometimes it can just be people being their normal selves,
Yeah.
being insensitive,
Yeah.
not even caring how you feel. It's Tina, woman, you will handle it.
Yeah.
Men do. So if you're in that position, then you have to have a thick skin, because that will carry you through, or else you're always going to complain, or
Yeah, you can't always claim to be a victim. I mean, I see that
Right.
as a strong way of not being exceedingly pushy, but just being who you are. And I think people get to respect you for what you stand for and how you deal with situations. You don't go crying or whining or complaining. Just do it. Just do it. And well,
And you
Like-
also you also said, like, when the male colleague, he doesn't even bother to learn French, and
Yeah.
he will just put up the attitude, and
Automatic.
people will respect him automatically. But you have to do it your own way, just like you said, be who you are, and see what works.
Right.
What worked, and did it work?
It did work. And I had studied French before and I enjoy learning French. So for me, it was finding my own way. But also to realize that there are circumstances where I could learn French all day and then we go to Equatorial Guinea and they speak Spanish. And then we go to, we would have one-off trips to somewhere they speak Swahili. So, you can't learn 50 languages. So your attitude and your confidence can bridge all that. Yeah.
Use your both methods.
yeah.
Whichever
Well,
works.
that's the versatility we were talking about,
Yeah.
So you have this bag of of reactions that are, that you can
Everyone
call
has
upon,
their
mix
own.
and match or what
Right.
have you. But it's a human thing, It's just that here in Sierra Leone, again, the fact that culturally the way the society is made up, there's just that almost a reflex to not treat women the way, as equals. And it's also interesting, I get backhand compliments. Oh, you're doing a good job. For a woman, you don't try. I say, I don't try.
We will just want maybe a bit of summary and encouragement for people out there, and we'll go through our comments. Because, as I said, there are people out there who are looking up to women, but they need push. They're still feeling like maybe they had other ways. So I don't mind, the best excuse they can use. You had connections. You had other ways to do it. You didn't just go the normal way. And that's a way. That's an excuse just to sit down and think, my time will come. God will find a way to bring me to somebody that will put me here. But there are people who, without no connection, just because of what people see they're doing out there, people go and find them.
Yeah.
Like, you are capable for this position. And you have people who who they are connected to, but they still left them and came to you. So for people to stop using that excuse that salon are connection, because they just want to be lazy and sit, wait for God in time,
If the
pray.
connection not come, you go find the connection for yourself.
Yeah,
Not sit
work
down say
hard.
connection they can na God in time. Yes, na God in time. But if you not put in the work, God no go come from in throne can don't appear to you say Mary. Some people are just expecting
A miracle.
Yeah, no, they're just expecting that God to come down and then touch your face or something like that. But you have to put in the work. When you put in the work and he knows that you're putting the work, then everything will work. So not a connection no more. You self grab, go do something for yourself. Then man therefore be sit down, say, oh, because then they talk at me, or maybe because one person alap at me, I go catch in a corner. They not go there outside and they so. But then with everything that was going on, they still pushed. They still pushed themselves when it was comfortable, when it was not comfortable, they still pushed themselves. So some people then at the slightest discomfort, they don't back off and say, oh no. I'm also talking to myself because me back self, I can get that small straight the way something not comfortable for me, I don't sit on back. But I'm still learning, and I want to encourage you now all say, let we all learn and forge ahead. So
Yeah, I just want a bit of maybe a holistic summary of what of an encouragement of what women should do if they want to give up. They are at the verge of giving up. They have given up. Just a push that they can do it, because we have spoken about it. Government made a bit of an adjustment. 30% we are going there.
Yeah,
From 30 we'll go to 50. At first there was zero and now we are at 30. But if they see women still pushing, then we can go somewhere. So just a bit of encouragement from your side.
Yes, and but you said before that everyone starts from somewhere, so you can't, look at someone and say, "Oh, you have all these degrees." Well, you started on that first day of your degree program,
right.
worked and worked and worked. So everybody started from somewhere. They're all just people. And I used to have a plaque on my desk that said, "Everyone who works here has a life." So it's not just kids. It's not just different things in life. Everybody has something going on. If you get to know them, they might have something going on with their parents, something going on with their health. Everyone has something going on. So we all have to work with each other and realize that there's give and take there, and that we have to just realize everyone is human and everyone starts at the beginning and works their way up. And and with my job at the State Department, when I applied, I wasn't a clear candidate because a lot of the application process asked, "Have you been in the military?" I had not. "Had you worked for the government?" I had not. And I said, "Well, I'll say why I think I would be good, and we'll see what happens." And luckily, I was hired. But there are times where I could have talked myself out of it from seeing that.
Could have
And
said, I don't have all these requirements.
And I think that's what we are good at as women. We talk ourselves out of. We don't. It's almost like a self-defeating kind of way. No. You can set what can be seen as a deficit. You can turn around and make it become an asset for you. All of us who are where we are didn't get there in a day. And so you got to put in that sweat, whether it's legwork, whether it's, sweat equity to get where you are. And don't expect that because you're a woman, you should be given favors or be granted a pass. No, work for it and let people see that you're doing something and earn, and let them get to respect you,
Yeah.
because that's what it is. And also, I think there are more opportunities for shadowing women at work, for unpaid volunteers, internships and things like that, just to learn how to do things. And, I, well, I like to talk anyway, but I get a lot of students. I invite them to the office. I have what we call hanging out with the DVC. So, we talk about the college, the campus, but also about life. You know, whether it's relationship advice. But as you were saying, everybody has a life. We see them as students, but they also come with their own, from different backgrounds and the issues that they're dealing with. So it's, yes, so maybe you bring that mothering instinct there, or that female touch or whatever, because people think that as women we're better communicators and so on. But I think women need to just realize their potential and go for it.
Thank you.
Go for it. But I want to be part of the female DVC hangout.
No problem.
Oh.
Yes. Please.
Want some relationship tips?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, male as well as female have handed out those.
Okay, we'll go through a few of the comments on Facebook. We have from Joshua Johnson, good morning, Radio Fi. We have from Ibrahim T. Chroma. Say, Ibrahim T, good morning to you
Good
too.
morning.
We have from Bob David. Hi, Bob David. Amara Barcelona, good morning, viewers and followers. Good morning to you too, Amara Barcelona. Ibrahim T viewing from Bo City. Hi, Mr. Ibrahim. See how beautiful these ladies are. Some women find it difficult to work with their boss or bosses in different offices because of the intimidation and many more. Ibrahim T. Yes, Mr. Ibrahim T. We have Junaik. This is another day, thank God. It's Thursday. Respect to all the women. Please follow Radio 55 because of this radio. We talk about everything. Each month has its own topic. Next Monday will be, well, next month will be the history of Sierra Leone. Yes. I'm already hyped. I want to talk about where we're at. And we continue from making sound. Blessed good morning, ready for another beautiful day and topic. Thank you. From Deslene Lawrence Head. Wow. Quite excited to hear about the entrepreneurship program ongoing. I think men are welcome as well.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not just a female.
Men are
thing.
welcome.
Yeah.
So from Ibrahim Samuel Conte, results showed that having a higher percentage of women in the workplace predicated more jobs, more organization, dedication, more meaningful. I think he didn't finish the comment. And we have Abraham Amar Barcelona to Ibrahim T. Call in the show and tell us what's all about women in the various offices. We have from
Making sound.
This must be a student.
Yeah.
Yes, ma. Prof. Morgan. In a gentle way, we can change the world. Yes, we can. Another day again for women. Can't wait for the men's.
You can't wait for men's month.
far. Almost at the end of the year. We have from Ibrahim Samuel. Women inclusion. The workplace is vital for economic growth, innovation, and a more equitable society as diverse teams to better decision making, increased productivity, and improved employee satisfaction. Yeah, it does. And we have from
Safia Amadou. She says women are the most hardworking humans on earth, be it in our home or workplace, right? Yes. Janaik says, Fry, these guests are smart and the program is interesting. I need more women in the comment section. Sophia continues to say, having these women as guests who know who they are and what value they hold as a woman is a great inspiration to we the young girls. Thank you, Fry. Oh, thank you. Johnny says, thanks for the beautiful discussions, Radio Fry, the leading station in Sierra Leone. Of course, we are. Safia continues to say, just do it. We'll do it. We'll continue doing it.
And we have James Banatire. Women in leadership don't face challenges only from men. Even women sometimes look down on other women because of their gender, especially in Africa. This bias, whether conscious or unconscious, often limits opportunities for capable women to rise to position of influence. To create true gender equality, both men and women must challenge these stereotypes, support female leadership, and recognize that competence, not gender, determines one's ability to lead. Ooh, that's beautiful. And we have from Lawrence, we celebrate the women, but also recognize that the men whose effort have helped them claim most of what we
we're
are hearing and
today.
seeing today. Yeah, there are some men that still do clap and support women, husbands support wives. So yes, thank you, Mr. Desley. And we have from Teen Client, the quiet voice carries weight. Thank you. Oh, yes, it does.
Wow.
Ibrahim continues, women in the workplace bring a host of unique strength to leadership,
like our host for today at Leora and Mary.
and to our beloved guest for today, Fifa is the best. I think we have two more. We have from Patricia Conte, women need to support each other, yes, and do not see ourselves as competitors. Our hard work should serve as inspiration to other women, but not stir up jealousy. We need to applaud each other. This is a problem that we need to talk about in our agenda. And the last for today, David Renner. I believe this program is a welcoming one. Thank you, Mr. David. And this is how we bring this show to an end. And we just want to say we had a lovely time today. We learned a lot from both of you, and we're gonna, keep pushing, work hard, and not be discouraged by any bit of a pulling down syndrome or even pull ourselves down.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're pleased to have you both here with us.
We don't want to go, but we have to.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to meet you all.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you for having me, for having us.
Thank you so much.
I will be following Radio Fry Fry.
That'd be beautiful.
Thank you. And we were your hosts.
May and Laura. This is how we bring the show to a close. Bye.
Taste the magic. Na Coca-Cola. Fresh and new with new look. Sip the joy and feel the fun. Every moment get Boku magic. Fanta, Sprite, Vimto and Parrot energy drink. Then taste so refreshing you go always want more. Then they are also for sale for both wholesale and retail. So for delivery, now for call the number +232 30 32 8618. Coca-Cola. They also give you the amazing opportunity for becoming a distributor across Salon. Just call the number +232 30 32 8618. Coca-Cola. Real magic.